Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back again on your screen. Today is a good day. So we're having this series of talks on our independence. So just to take off the conversation again, from where my previous guest stopped, I have another heavyweight guest, a very special one. I really appreciate her time to do this with me today. So I'll be bringing her up. We're going to be looking at a lot of issues. As you can see, my note is filled with the questions I want to ask her. But sincerely, we're just going to go deep down into what our history has been from independence and now, and try to get another perspective on what some of these issues are. If we're looking at 60 years Nigeria independence, how far have we fared? So these are some of the things we are going to be talking about and the journey so far. All right. So my guest is live. Welcome, Matt, to the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are live now. We are live now. Uh, so first of all, again, let me thank you so much for finding time to do this with me. I know you have a very busy schedule and busy time today with the independence and everything, but I'm really happy to have you on the show. So, but before I go on with the questions, just to let you know what the show is all about. So early in March, in April this year, when we had the lockdown and everything, I saw what was happening on Instagram with the Instagram live and everything. It was quite interesting, and I said, "Oh, why don't we bring this to Facebook? Leverage on same technology to share knowledge, to educate ourselves, to learn, and talk about issues of concern, whether local or nationally or even global." And I've had amazing guests, and this is the 35th episode we have done so far, and it's been very interesting. I must say the feedbacks have been superb. So now we are driving the conversation on independence, and you don't know how it gladdens my heart to have someone like you on the show. Welcome to the show, ma.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. It's an honor. Yeah.
So just before we start the conversation, I would like my guests to meet you. If I start reeling your the little I know about you, we won't go today. But I would like you to just speak for yourself for my viewers to get to meet you. Um, who really is Chief Ndukwe? I mean, did I get it correct?
Yeah, you did.
All right. So
Yeah.
tell us more about you. Yeah.
Well, Chief Christy Obiaruko, for short, Obi Ndukwe, is
Okay.
it's one of you and one of us. I was born 50 years ago, 10 years after Nigeria gained her
Independence.
independence.
Hmm.
Incidentally, my father was one of those who were involved in the what we call the Zikis movement that later became the NCNC. He was once the youth
Hmm.
secretary and later the secretary. So
Okay.
that also affords me the opportunity to have also learned quite enough, a lot about what transpired before we gained our independence. So I'm a journalist, I'm a publisher,
Okay.
and then I also run an NGO known as the Citizens Quest for Truth Initiative. It's an
Okay.
advocacy group that tries to bring government to the citizens.
Hmm.
So that's basically I can say for now. As we progress, maybe if there are issues that I need to address, I will.
Okay. Okay. Great. Viewers, if you're watching, help us to share this video on many groups and on your timeline as much as you can, so that we can have more people join the conversation and I get to ask some very important questions as it pertains our independence. Um, if you look below your screen, you'll see the share button. You can click it to share the video, and you can also click the notification so that you'll be the first to know whenever we go live. Okay. So my next question now will be I know you are following a lot of Facebook. You're very vocal on a lot of political issues in the country. But my first question would be, how would you score Nigeria 60 years later, since 1960 till now? If you were given a marking script as a teacher or a lecturer, say, oh yeah, score Nigeria, how they have performed 60 years later. How would you score Nigeria in the scale of 1 to 10?
Well, that is if I am even qualified to do so. But if you give me the privilege of doing so, I can say that probably we are still at 45%. 45%.
Mm,
For a country that's just 60 years of democracy, I think that we're not doing badly, even though
mm,
lately it looks like some of
mm,
the indices, some of the things that led to the struggle for that independence are now beginning to rear their ugly heads. So if you ask
mm,
me, for a 60-year-old country that is independent, is a sovereign nation,
mhm,
for us to score 40%, it means that we are actually there. The progress may be slow, but we are still moving. And the important thing is that we are still existing as a country, because ordinarily it could have been worse, considering what's happening in some other countries by now. Probably would have disintegrated so much, and we would even be here
mm,
talking about independence. So
mm.
45%.
So the 45% you've given Nigeria, what were some of the things you looked out for, and what were the things that are still missing? We scoring 45% is below average.
Well, although the network is breaking, but I think I can understand what your question is all about. You are asking if, I mean, the indices, the sectors I expected that would have had some improvement, you know. I think that's what you're trying to ask, because the
Yes,
network
yes, very correct.
is
Yes,
a
very
bit,
correct.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, for me, yeah, there are so many sectors that actually need attention. But the question is, can you continue doing things the same way and expect different results? It's not
No.
possible.
Mm,
It's not possible. The issues, yeah, the issues are fundamental. The health sector, the education sector, the housing, infrastructure, agriculture, and the rest of it. Generally, the insecurity, all are there. They're all in this. They all point us to the fact that we need to sit down as a nation and begin to ask ourselves, begin to do some background checks, ask ourselves whether we have fared well. And
mm,
if we haven't, what is it that we have not done rightly? What is it that we need to do if we must, be abreast of development, just as it is in other nations? So we need to sit down. It's time for us now to begin to say, look, we have been doing this, we have played politics with this. Now we can't continue to do that. We have sat down, and a certain cabal sit down, and then they draw up whoever they want to govern any nation, I mean, any state and anywhere, and then it's not working because the people are not involved. The citizens are not involved. The citizens know back home those who can deliver, those who have the conscience of the people, those who can say, look, if I'm given this opportunity to do this, I will bring back whatever I need to bring back to ensure that my people have the dividends of democracy. The people must be involved. But a situation where we are running elections and people just sit down and decide, right lists, rig elections, manipulating the judiciary is not even helping matters. I think it's even the worst now. And then you begin to have mediocre in power, begin to see people that don't even have any conscience sitting in power. People you know that ordinarily in any competition, they can never beat you, are the ones running the affairs of the country. So what are we talking about? We need to sit down. For 60 years, the truth of the matter is that we started well after independence. We saw the things that were set up by different past governments. For instance, like I always refer to the likes of Michael Okpara, of the old Eastern region. We saw
mm,
the foundation he laid. In agriculture, you have the cashew industry, you have the palm produce in almost all the states, and whatever he did in one state, he replicated in other states. That's why you can come to Imo State, you see the cashew plantation, you go to Port Harcourt, you see a similar stuff, you go to Calabar, you go to wherever, you are seeing the same thing, because they had the conscience, they had the passion, they were the ones who fought for this independence. So they knew that they couldn't fail, because if they fail, they'll be mocked. But a situation where these things have been handed over to people who were never there, whose parents were never there, who never cared, who were not told the story of what we passed through before we got the independence. It's like a rich man who makes money and hands over his wealth to his children who schooled overseas and never bothered. When they return, they just sell off everything and continue to live a life they want. That is exactly what's happening in Nigeria. Very many people have found themselves in power who have no business to be in power, who have no business to be in government, because they don't even know where we are coming from, talk less of where we are going. A situation where you never had somebody to instill in you the very essence of why we are called Nigeria. All you know is your mother's kitchen, your community, your village, people that are your friends or your relations. You don't even care. You have no knowledge. The only knowledge you have is probably because you read history in school and all that. But nobody sat down to tell you that, look, we had issues in government when the colonial masters were here. We had issues of multiple taxation. We had issues of forceful takeover of our land. We had issues with them taking our resources and then repatriating them overseas to their countries and developing their countries. Very many people are not aware. What we do today is policy.
I want to ask, you said something in your opinion piece you wrote. You said everything our forefathers built is broken. What did you mean by that?
Everything is broken. Like I said, there is even no patriotism in the first place. How many Nigerians can you walk into their offices or in their homes and you see the Nigerian flag, like I have in my office? Look at it. I didn't put it here because of the independence, no. Many people don't even know what it means. When the national anthem is going on, many people don't have the respect to stand until the national anthem is done with. They don't even have the passion for the nation. What they have is passion for their pockets. What they have is passion to build houses, build castles, if possible, where they will live forever. Nobody cares about a road. I was watching a documentary last night on TVC, and they were showing the situation of some roads somewhere in Imo State where erosion has taken over. And I was telling the person, and a House of Reps member was being interviewed, and I asked a question. A House of Reps member is from this place, and he's bold enough to come on TV to be showing us the bad roads. Which foundation has he laid as an example? I have done a road where I come from, 1.5 kilometers on a hill with drainage. And I know that without a government appointment, without a government position, I was able to fix that road. It means then that those who are collecting money, salaries from our taxes that we pay, can also do these things. At least show example, leadership by example. You see some people during the last election, I was so ashamed that somebody, as a former chairman, national chairman of a political party, was going to vote in an election, a crucial election, and he was standing outside where the INEC officials put their stand, outside an old building, under the tree. That's where some of the governors vote. That's where some of the lawmakers vote. That's where some of the those in the National Assembly vote. And I ask a question: Is it that this man couldn't make that hall, or even build a hall, or refurbish the hall and make it comfortable enough for voters to walk in, sit down, and as they call your name, you come in there and vote and you go? I am saying it because I have done it in my own unit where I come from, where we have an old existing prayer house. I had
Are
to
you from
refurbish it.
River State? Are you from River State?
And no, my mother is Rivers. She's Rivers. Biologically,
Okay.
the
Okay.
father is Opobo. I'm from Abia
Okay.
State, Usuguato, the land of the generals. That's why you have
Okay.
very many of them, Ikechukwu, and the rest of them. In
Okay.
my own unit, go there and see. We sit down to vote. We put the small generator and the fan is blowing and everybody is seated on comfortably in plastic chairs. Why is it that we don't see these things? So let me tell you, the major challenge is this. The people, our founding fathers, knew that your fundamental human right is concomitant to your fundamental human duty. You have a duty to play. You have a duty, a role to play in ensuring that Nigeria gets developed from your own small units. How do you justify the fact that somebody is a Senate president on the day of the election is raining? They carry umbrella to cover him for him to go and vote outside under the tree, and then leave the remaining voters to suffer. These are the issues, and that's why I said the passion with which our founding fathers had and used to fight and set up this infrastructure that some of them are what we are still enjoying today, it's no longer there. The drive now is for people to get rich and then have people become their subjects, come to Dobale for them at home, praising for them, hype them, use the social media to praise them to high heavens, even praise them more than they can praise God, and then go home with peanuts. That is the reason, because nobody is asking questions.
Let me
Nobody is
come
asking questions,
in there.
and nobody is even.
Let me come in there. So I want to ask, at what point did we get it this wrong? And some people have said they have faulted how our forefathers created Nigeria in the first place. That Nigeria was created on a faulty foundation. Reason why 60 years later now, a lot of these things are failing. Do you agree?
What is the faulty foundation? The faulty foundation many refer to was the indirect rule in the north and all that. Yes, but it can be made better, it can be corrected. If what they handed over to us was faulty, we as a people, are we going to continue to live like that without saying to ourselves, let us sit down and talk? We've had several national confabs. Nothing came out. No report was implemented whatsoever till tomorrow. People are talking about restructuring. Even if the president allows for that and a constitutional conference or whatever is set up, the report will still be swept under the carpet. The reason is very simple. We are not yet determined as people to correct the imbalance, the injustice, inequity, and inequality in the society. Who are the people who are going to make this change? Is it the same people who continue to promote gender inequality? People who continue to discriminate against women that have made their mark, who have shown capacity to also be part of developing Nigeria. You want to run an election, you are subjected to all manner of inhuman treatment just because you're not a man. So the truth of the matter is that we have not gotten the right leadership. The moment we get the right leadership, things will fit in. When President Buhari was coming, it was a massive movement in 2015. The people voted, the masses voted. The people said, no, enough is enough. We need this change. We need things to be corrected because everybody was also getting tired with the fact that we are not getting things right. What happened? People thought it was going to be the same old story about what we were told about Buhari. Oh, he's a dictator. Oh, he's an ethnic bigot. Oh, he's blah, blah, blah. And the man comes and disappoints everyone, disappointed the naysayers, disappointed his enemies, all those who said he's this, he's that. We didn't see all that again. The moment they saw that Buhari didn't come to jail anybody, they began to unleash. People began to speak anyhow. You saw how governors will sit down, malign the president, castigate the president, use all manner of derogatory words against the president. There's no respect. People who are supposed to.
Permit me to butt in there. Let me just come in a little. So now let us fast forward to the present day. I don't know, did you read the presidential speech today and the speech from other governors? What do you make out of it? I want to get your view.
Well, I read the president's speech, and as far as I'm concerned, that's one of the most sincere speeches the president has made in recent times. It was very
Hmm.
sincere. He got it right. He made it clear that we have not fared well. He made it clear that, I mean, we need to begin to do things differently, that there is need for us to begin to think Nigeria, for us to get it right. I was still going to see if I could serialize that speech
Okay.
because I needed to digest that speech very well. Yeah, for me,
Hmm.
but at first glance, I was very impressed. I don't know how, some people, they will criticize whatever comes from the president just because they don't like him. Some, because he doesn't come from a particular tribe, they don't want to see anything good. But I tell you that that speech is one of the best things if we can stick to it and begin to correct these anomalies. I give you an example. One of the anomalies in this nation, which has been there over the years, is the issue of lopsided appointments, the
Okay.
issue of some ethnic groups not being able to get some of these privileges others get, without having to be subjected to maybe spending so much money or going to pay homage to certain persons from certain parts of the
Hmm.
country. Now,
Okay.
if the president takes a conscious look at this and now decides that the issue of federal character must be implemented in every appointment, in every ministry, and in whatever, I tell you, most of the cries for secession you are seeing will be reduced. The reason is that there are certain ethnic groups who do not have the block. They don't have the block votes. How do you expect a man from, I give you an instance, from Eche, probably that occupies only 2 local governments out of the 774 local governments in Nigeria? That ethnic group, how do you expect that if somebody wants to aspire to become the president of the country, it will be very easy for him? Where would he get the numbers? The
Hmm.
allocation that comes to the states is still very much imbalanced because some states have more local governments than others. Some zones have more states than others. So whatever goes to those places is based on the number of local governments they have. And already, only Kanu, the number of local governments here, put all the local governments in the southeast is not up to what you have in Kanu alone. And that also affects the issue of representation. Hold on, I'm coming. It affects the issue of
Okay.
representation. So now,
Okay.
even the president, who has also spotted out some of these anomalies, also has a responsibility to begin to say, look, we need to change the way we've done things. We have looked at the cries for justice. We have looked at the clamor for secession and all that by certain groups. What do? We need to sit down and begin to see how we can balance some of these things in order to calm down frayed nerves. The people you see who are making noise are not mad people. Some of them is only that they can't control their emotions as much as you and I can. And that's the reason why you see them, they get mad, they set up these groups and begin to unleash. Otherwise, if there's a conscious effort to ensure
Hmm.
that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander, I think that Nigeria will begin to make progress.
Hmm. Wow. I agree with you in all of that. But I want to ask you, are you saying that the Buhari administration has been doing a good job? Why I'm asking is because if you recall, since 2015, it looks like we have been more divided since this country came more than ever. So, what's your assessment of this administration?
We have always been very much divided. The truth of the matter is that we were just managing it. We had
So,
some persons were not politically conscious. Some persons,
mhm.
some groups were not aware. They were being hexed. Some were made to believe that we are one, so don't bother yourself. Once I get it, it will, trickle down to you. But today, with information technology, many people, more and more groups, more and more ethnic groups are becoming more conscious. You see the man in the village far north or far east or far south, they have their mobile phones, they communicate even in languages, in their own native languages, and they are beginning to understand these things. So that's why you cannot use the same method of governance or ways of doing things in the past now, because people are now more aware. When the likes of Ojukwu and the rest of them took up arms, and all that, very many people didn't understand what they were talking about. Forget about the issue of rebellion. Let us look at the fundamental issues that were raised against the government of the day then. Have we been able, since the end of Biafra, have we been able to address those issues critically? Have we been able to address the imbalance in the army and in the police? These were the real issues. Have we been able? So the truth of the matter is that it's not a matter of the president. It's not a matter of being divided since 2015. We've always been divided. We only manage it. But as we go on in life, the social media has made it possible for people now who never knew or who never bothered to begin to bother, to begin to know. Different ethnic groups are beginning to realize that ordinarily would have been better off if we were living on our own as a nation, as a people, other than where we are today. So they are now becoming more aggressive and more involved in the conversation. So, and that's why the division is growing larger. It's not because Buhari is not doing well. The only thing, of course, there are sectors where the government is doing well, but the only challenge, like I said, is the issue of addressing what has led to this further division. You cannot shut down the social media. It has come, it has come. It will get to a point, even when children themselves will be the ones to be telling us what's going on. But what you can do is to address those issues that are leading to the division. If a man from Ikwere is qualified, irrespective of political party, to hold a national position, why would you not give it to him, except he comes from the north or from the west or from the core Igbo states? That is part of the reason. And the people will protest, the people will kick. When there are appointments, what people go out to look for, the first thing people go out to look for is to know if every ethnic geopolitical zone is represented. And if they are, how many of the slots come to this point? And don't forget that some of these appointments, for instance, the judiciary, the army, police, and the rest of them, favor those states with more numbers, with what I call more skewed population figures. And so because of that, the ones with the lesser numbers, no matter their contribution, no matter their contribution to national development, they will still not be favored because they are seen not to be to have the numbers. So these things need to be addressed. I think that if the president can do that with what he's been able to do in some sectors so far, nobody can get it right. Before Buhari became president in 2015, the nation was gone already. We had drifted. We were only patching a situation, not knowing that a day will come when this balloon will blow up, and that is where we are now.
Wow, interesting, but this is explosive. I'm digging into some of the comments you have made, and we'll look at it. But viewers, if you're watching, you can share this video on your various groups, on your timeline. Please do help us share it so we can have. I'm seeing some of your questions for my guests. We can have more questions for her, but please share it on your timeline, on your various groups, and tag your friends to it so that we can broaden the conversation and include more people. I see your questions and I'll be taking them one at a time for my guests. But before we go forward, Ma, let me take you a little bit. So in 1960, when I was preparing for this show, I discovered that some of our leaders back then were young people in their late 20s, in their early 30s and mid 30s. But today, that is not the case we have now. In fact, some leaders from that time are still leading us till date. What would you say is the problem in breaking this barrier in our leadership?
network.
Can you hear me, ma? Hello, ma. Hello.
The network was bridging in. If I understand your question, then we had leaders who were young, 20s.
Yes. Yes.
But today the case is not the same. Like I said,
Yes.
then only very few had the privilege of education. Only very
Okay.
few had the privilege of being exposed. Don't forget that then only very few persons were sponsored to even go overseas and study.
Mm.
And so majority of the people who studied then were only a few of them who studied overseas, came back, became more exposed, began to fight for these things, you know. So that's probably the reason why we had people in that age group. You know, this time around, it's not so because there are what we call sit tight leaders, people who want to be recycling leadership. They are recycling leadership. Once you
Mm.
have been to the House of Assembly, you must graduate to the National Assembly. And once you have been a governor, you must retire as a senator. You know, and that has been the case. The reason is that the fear that the moment you are out of power, nobody recognizes you anymore, and you may
Mm.
not also have, yeah, you may not have access to get even the contracts that you used to, you know, sustain your lifestyle, you know, and
Mm.
all that.
Mm.
So we are having what I call a conscious recycling of leaders. That is the
Mm.
reason why you can see people at the age of 50, they are still called youths. When
Mm.
Zeke and the rest of them were 50, they were already done. They had already established the universities, the University of Nigeria, Soka, UI, Unilag, Ahmadu Bello University, and the rest of them. But
Mm.
today, a 50-year-old man is still a Nigerian youth leading youth protests, making noise in the social media. That is the thing. And the reason is not far-fetched because they have been consciously excluded from the power game. What they are made to do is to service the aspirations of these sit tight leaders, service the aspirations and get settled in peanuts.
Oh, the
But I think
network.
that the time is coming very soon.
The
Can you
network.
hear me?
Yeah, I can. You are breaking a
Can
bit,
you
but
hear
I can
me?
hear. You are breaking. You're breaking, but I can hear you.
I'm breaking.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Your video is static now. You're breaking. You want to rejoin? Can you rejoin? Maybe the network will be better.
Eh? Can you?
Okay, I lost her now. So it's a network, and she's going to get back. And this is becoming very interesting. I like how the conversation is flowing. She's really letting out a lot. This has to be one of the very good conversation I've had. I see all your questions, and I will be asking her. My next question to her is, this is in 2015, if you remember. This issue of recycling our leaders was the reason why many people were against President Buhari as at that time, because he was one time a president, a head of state, and it looks as if we're recycling him for 2020, for 2015 as at that time. Reason why there was some resistance to bring him. So I'm going to ask her um, that question. Let me just try and get her back on the line. But I see all your questions. Please keep sharing the videos so that we can um, have a broader conversation. The network cannot make us miss this. Okay. So Benedict Green, I see your comment here. Say we have the worst economy ever, the highest rate of unemployment amongst graduates, lowest wage, increase in price of goods and services, highest parental mortality rate, highest rate of death amongst children. Hmm. Wow, that is true. That is true. Linda Long John, I see your comment. There is undiluted truth. Oh, of course, of course. And that's why the hunger series is here. Welcome back, Ma. Can you hear me?
Mm.
Hello, Ma.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, all right. The network almost
Yeah.
made us miss you there. I can hear you now too. I can hear you.
Nah. Okay, so
Hello.
let's fire on. What was it? Um, yes,
Yes.
I can hear you.
So okay, so we're talking about recycling of leaders, and how we now have
It's
the
evident.
conscious.
It's
Yes,
evident that these guys, yeah,
yeah. So, but remember
these
in
people don't
20
want to leave.
remember in 2015, this recycling of leaders was the same reason why some Nigerians were fighting the emergence of President Buhari as president. But many people still supported him, and today is our president, and he has been two-time president. Why did most people support the president if we're trying to not recycle our leaders? Hello, Ma, can you hear me?
The
Oh goodness.
network.
Oh goodness. Hello, can you hear
No,
me
we'll
now?
keep pushing. Don't worry. I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. Did you hear my question though?
Mm.
Did you hear my question?
You were talking about, you said in 20, that's the point I stopped. I didn't hear again.
Okay, I said in 2015, most people were against the emergence of
Yeah.
President Buhari because of this issue of recycling of leaders. And most people felt we shouldn't recycle and bring back President Buhari again after being head of state. But anyways, he still became president. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, but there's something you have to understand. There are certain challenges or situations you meet that demands that you have people that have the requisite experience. And the situation we found ourselves in 2015, 2014, 2015 wasn't
Mm,
something that any child, when I mean any child, will just become president. No, it required somebody who had the experience and the respect that the nation needed, because the entire world was actually going to blacklist Nigeria, So it requires somebody who could at least show that, look, we also have Nigerians who have integrity. We also have Nigerians who are incorruptible. And let me tell you the truth, that has paid off. Otherwise, by now, this international community, they would have written us off because of the level of corruption. I'm not saying that corruption has been eradicated, but it's not like what it was then, even though, unfortunately, even the ill health of the president at some point gave some persons the leverage, to go back to what they were doing in the past, So it's not even about the political party now. It's about the people. Who are the people? Whether APC, PDP, ABGA, they are still the same people. But unfortunately, we had a Buhari who is a man of integrity, who was able to help Nigeria gain back their world respect. But that is just one out of 1,000 leaders that are in the corridors of power. Very many of them are not ready to learn from him or to be like him or to say, I will be incorruptible. Many of them don't have the integrity. And that's why a tree cannot make a forest. It will not be easy for Buhari to change things alone, except he begins to go the way of the likes of Jerry Rawlings, or what was obtainable in the past when he was head of state alongside the late General Tunde Idiabo, and begins to jail people for offenses
mm,
that are obvious. But again, can Buhari actually do those things now in a democracy? Then we had decrees, military decrees. I mean, you just say it and it goes. Here, you're talking of a democracy where the judiciary also comes to play. And if you look
mm,
at the speech of the president, he has said that it is sad that people all efforts to institutionalize democracy, making sure that we have free and fair election, that has been bungled by the actions and inactions of a section of the judiciary. People now keep money, reserve money, to go and buy themselves judgment from the courts. Judgments are no longer given based on the fundamental constitutional issues. They are now given based on who can pay more. So even if the president wants to take action against some of these corrupt persons, the issue of democracy comes. People will say no. Democracy says, fundamental human rights says, oh, you can't lock him up. You can't do this without trying him. You are trying a man for over how many years? Orisa Metu was tried and jailed for taking money from Dasuki, 400 billion. But we have some other persons who collected the same money from Dasuki. Till today, they are still going to court. They have not been able to jail anybody. Why? Probably because the judge handling that particular one has been compromised. These people have money. They made so much money in the past. And the money is there to use and buy their freedom. They use it to even give to the youth who come on social media and support them and clap for them. We were fighting issues concerning the Niger Delta recently.
Unfortunately, we are going to come to that. I don't want you to take us there yet. we are going to come to that.
The point I'm making is that Buhari is a tree and no tree makes a forest. All right. Except, and the time is no more there for him to groom people who will be like him. So all he wants to do, play his part, do his own part, and then leave and then retire for us to continue. If we want to make Nigeria great, we make. If we want to destroy Nigeria, that's our own cup of tea.
I have a comment. I have a comment from the comment section. Let me read that for you. It is from Benedict Green. And he said, we have the worst economy ever, the highest rate of unemployment amongst graduates, lowest wage increase in prices of goods and services. You can't hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead. Just start the question again. The comment.
Okay. The comment from Benedict Green. He said, we have the worst economy ever, the highest rate of unemployment amongst graduates, lowest wage, increase in prices of goods and services, highest prenatal mortality rate, highest rate of death.
If you type the question on the screen, the line is cutting.
Okay.
You were saying something. I didn't get it at all. Go ahead. Just say it fast, very fast. I'll pick.
Okay. The person was just trying to say how we have the worst economy, unemployment, lowest wage, increasing. I mean, all the many issues we have currently under this government. And you say President Buhari is doing a good job. He might not be doing all, but we have some of these issues.
Oh, the person that is saying it, does he pay his tax? Ask him if he pays tax.
The person is hearing.
If he pays his NEPA bill.
I'm sure the person is hearing.
No, I don't know who the person is. It's not a personal thing. It's a general statement I'm making.
Yeah. The person is hearing.
And I think, how many people pay taxes? How many people pay electricity bill? How many people do the needful? How many people even ask themselves, as a citizen of Nigeria, what is my duty? What is my role to make Nigeria great in my own little way? You can't be talking about government doing this and doing that. Government is doing their best within their own abilities. The Bible said they gave gifts to men, the talents to men according to their own abilities. The government is doing their own. But you as an individual, how are you helping the government? A situation where people cannot even help the government by paying taxes. They cannot even pay ordinary electricity bill. They can't do some of these things. So it's a two-way thing. You're talking about unemployment. Of course, these are one of the indices in macroeconomics, of a developing nation. It's there. We are not yet there. Let's not deceive ourselves. The problem with Nigerians? No, the problem is that we allow our social life to influence our perception of what our current economic life is. Because we are doing the thing, we see them. Everybody's on Instagram. Everybody's on social media. Everybody wants to be a Beyonce. Everybody wants to do an entertainment program. For crying out loud, do you have the kind of power arrangement they have in those countries where you're copying them? You want to drive the same cars they drive. You want to use the kind of phones they use. But the question is, does your country, have you gotten there? The social life is growing faster than the economic life. Nobody wants to finish school and be seen to be farming. Go overseas, those countries that they are talking about. Nobody is waiting for employment. People, if you don't get employed, you employ yourself. People are driving taxis. Graduates are working in fast foods. Graduates are working at the airports, ticketing officers. Graduates are working in sanitary agencies. Here, it's not so. Graduates are working in construction companies. How many people? The other day, I heard the governor of Rivers State talk about creating employment because of the construction, the flyovers that are going on. How many Rivers people would you find there? I can tell you that the people working there are outsiders. They are strangers. So it makes no meaning in terms of employment to the Rivers man. Because we as a people have not even realized that even our kids and kin who are overseas have to work like 18 hours out of 24 hours. You travel overseas, you're staying in somebody's house. Before you wake up in the morning, he has gone to catch the train to go to work. View the train stations, you won't see anybody there. It will still be the peasants, the poor people that will use these beautiful trains that you're seeing. The average Nigerian, every family has up to 5 cars. The father has one, the wife has one, the children have, and then the driver has the one that he has to use to do school run. Then the house help has the one that she uses to go to market. You can see that over in those developing countries, we're talking about. You park your car, you don't use your car. Most of the time they use their car only on Sunday.
But this is where government comes in. If we had a working rail line, we had the systems are working, the bus terminals are working, the bus station is working. I can confidently take a public bus from Artillery to my one park, and I don't need to use my car. Nobody will buy 5 cars. These countries you are mentioning.
No, but let me tell you, even you, even me, we will not do it because we want the effigy. We want to show that we have a sense of arrivalness, that we have, we want to flaunt our wealth at every time, our social status. People think that for you to enter a train means that you are poor. But when we travel all overseas, all of us enter train. When you go to UK, London, it levels everybody. We all stand in the train, holding hands and going to where we're going. But the moment we return to Nigeria, no, I want to drive my Range Rover. My wife wants to drive her S-Class. This one wants to drive, my children want to drive their Ferrari. And all the vehicles are on the road. So the issue, when you talk about employment and unemployment, people will need to begin to tell themselves the truth that, look, this government is not working the way I expect. So what do I need to do? People are becoming more creative. It is creativity that took people to the Big Brother Nigerian house. The last season we watched showed that it's not about how beautiful or shapely you are. It's not about your class, whether your father is rich. It's about your content. It's about your ability to showcase your inner self, your talent. And that's why you saw the massive voting by Nigerians for the young man called Lekon. He's a musician. He came there and found out that he could also act. He could act.
Okay,
hold on. People should look.
Okay.
I'm an advocate of people looking inwards when government has failed.
Okay.
It's not about shouting. It's not about castigating the governor. It's not about, some of us finished school and came out and became we worked for a few years in private establishments where we were paid little or nothing. But I took up a job, hold on. In 1997, I took up a job to work in Financial Telegraph newspapers owned by the Ibinedians. Okay. And when they asked me how much, when they asked me my salary, what I wanted, I said, no, I don't need the salary yet. I want to help this company break even. Let me shock you. They didn't know that I knew that the name Ibinedion then had its own goodwill. And so because I'm coming from a lesser background, I needed to use their goodwill to penetrate places. I knew that working with them will give me access to the high and mighty. And I was able, before you know it, I began to mingle with the high and mighty in the society. The only person I did not sit down with was late Sani Abacha. But from General Husseini to the rest of them, General Noja and the powers that be, I had personal encounters with them by virtue of working. I didn't care. I made my money because through the adverts, I made my money and the company also made theirs. So the point I'm making is when the system is failing or has failed, you don't need to wait and begin to lament. You begin to also castigate everybody. You have a role to play. Some of us have left home. We have been on this street. Been on this street for years. And we are fighting. We've been through hell. The rain has beaten us. The sun has beaten us. And we are still fighting and struggling, making sure that hopefully one day we will get there where we can showcase what God has put in us, you know, for us to help transform the society.
Exactly. I want to move to the conversation of the NDDC. I would like you to talk about it briefly. But before we go there, you said in your opinion piece today that state and local government creation has continued to deny us a country. Can you expatiate on that, what you meant by that statement in 1 minute?
Yes. Yeah, because you have some states have 40-something local governments. When you have 40-something, the allocation that will go to that state will be more than what will come to you. Those that have fewer, lesser. You go to the south, you come to River State, they have 23 LGAs. And then you have Lagos has how many? Kano has how many? And all that. So what do you think will be going there? I'm not saying that it's only the only reason. But what I'm saying is there is an imbalance. Some of those places, if you go there, there are there's nobody in some of those communities. Maybe 5-10 houses, it makes a local government, and they are giving these allocations. Sometimes you don't even see them. You make use of the money. Somebody sits in Abuja, collects everything, and writes up, and the people are suffering back home. You know. But the point I'm making is that there is so much imbalance. That's why we are saying the restructuring we are talking about is something that is a fundamental issue that we need to look at. You don't take I'll give you an example. You don't want, I'm not talking NDDC, but I want to talk about Niger Delta. Now, there was an issue when we started the advocacy for the completion of the East-West Road. And at some point, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, that is the PIDF, that had the money for the approved money Buhari gave, released since 2018, 20 billion to pay the historical debts to these the companies that were working on the road, you know. And you know what they did? They gave the minister for Niger Delta a condition when they were trying to now resolve so that they can start work. They gave a condition that the road should be completed and they will put toll gates to collect the money used to construct the road. And the minister now said to the man, to Uchoji, the MD of PIDF, he said to him, "You mean that me, as a Niger Delta man, will sit down and watch you collect money from the sale of gas and oil?" Because that's where the money for the PIDF comes from, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, a certain percentage. So you people collect money from gas that is in our land, then you use it to fix our road and still demand that we pay for the road. He said, no, it won't work. And he refused. And then there was a stalemate. And of course, the MD of the PIDF was comfortable with that until I decided to, you know, unleash my pen, my ink in the newspapers. And I took on him and my group, the Citizens Quest, we took on them. And at the end of the day, the president saw reason with the minister when he made the presentation that that project should be returned to the Ministry of Niger Delta. And then the money, 20 billion they were sitting on for 3 years, should be returned to the Ministry of Niger Delta. And the moment the money hit the accounts of the Ministry of Niger Delta, the contractors were paid and they have moved back to site. These are the issues we're talking about. So now, a situation where money coming from this region is being used to develop another region just because the people are not privileged to have whatever. There is so much injustice, there's imbalance. So we need to look at these issues, the local government thing, and I'm not holding brief for our careless leaders who have been running our affairs, the little one that they are even getting, for instance, the 13% derivation, the ecological funds, and the rest of them, they have been mismanaging them over the years. I don't want to excuse any leader. We have failed our own people. But that we have failed our own people doesn't mean we should sit down and accept that somebody else should continue to fail us. We need to sit down and talk. When we finish talking, generally, we'll come back home and deal with our own issues.
All right. Let's come back home now. It's that time. Let's come back home. Just recently, the NDDC was under media scrutiny, and the whole
Yeah,
investigation by the National Assembly. And your organization, the Citizen Quest, were monitoring all the different hearings at the National Assembly. It may interest you to know that
yeah.
since year 2000 till date, different federal government administrations put together have spent over, let me be able to get the exact figure, over 5 trillion naira on the NDDC. And from this money, from all the projects done, we have over 12,000 abandoned projects around the Niger Delta. And it breaks me into tears to see what's happening to the Niger Delta. A commission that was created to develop the region is itself failing the region. I'm from Bonny local government in River State, and I can tell you for free that there is nowhere any NDDC project can be found in my local government. And we have the
What's happened
Nigeria
to project? But
we have the Nigeria LNG in my community that gives a huge
yeah,
check to the federal government, every now and then. So, what I'm trying to say is, what is your view about some of these issues? What are the solutions you can recommend for a way forward? We don't know who is watching and who is listening, but what are some of the solutions you can give for us? But I want to hear your view in some of these issues. We had the MD fainting, the former MD hiding in a house. Many issues happen. So what are your views and what are the solutions you can recommend?
well, this issue of NDDC and the probe and the allegations and counter allegations and the drama and all that, I think is something that can form a full blown discussion maybe on another program. But I'm going to still mention some things. You see, NDDC is highly politicized. It's a political institution. Let me put it like that. Both from the appointments and all that. Whoever is appointed there is not going there because he wants to serve the interests of the people. He's going there to serve the interests of those who appointed them. Even if you didn't
Mm,
have that in mind, by the time you get there, you'll be compelled to do so. And let me also tell you that most of the problem, the challenges we've had in NDDC is as a result of I think 80% of the problem in NDDC is caused by the civil servants there. Some of them have been there since the days of Umpadek. The longest serving civil servant there is from the north.
mm.
He's been there since on the days of Umpadek. They understand the terrain, they have the cartel. They have youths that are on their payroll, network.
I can hear you. Go on. I can hear
I'm in
you.
trouble again.
Okay. Why she tries to join again? I mean, it's been an explosive session. I'm really enjoying how the conversation is going, but I like the fact that we are hitting on the real issues. I know when we talk about things like this, not everybody will agree. People will still have their own comments. People will still have their own reservations. But we are trying to just address the national issues, our independence, and how far we have come. But now we are addressing the Niger Delta issue, Development Commission issue. That's the NDDC, and let us see. Try to hear our view. Okay, she's back. Welcome, ma. Yeah. So go on.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot we If I have to speak on NDDC, head own findings, even the president will shut down that place. People will be sent to jail immediately. I'm telling you, the little that we even know. It's a sad story, but I want to disagree with you on the figures that people are brandishing. 5 trillion, 5 trillion from where? What has been the budget of Nigeria since then? That NDDC only will get 5 trillion.
This
Who
is from
said
a
so?
report
Forget about the people.
from TVC. This is a report
Forget those
I got from
reports.
TVC.
How many of them have gone in search of the truth? How many of them have gone to verify these things? People are talking about abandoned projects. How many of them have been to the project sites? We have traversed the nooks and crannies of the 9 states where these projects are cited. So we are in a better position, more qualified. We don't deal on paper information. We deal on physical information, verified information. There are so many lazy journalists today. All they do is to sit down them and they come and begin to reel out figures. What is their source of information? People just sit down and talk. And that's why the president is not listening to them. That's why the president is bent on at least having a forensic audit, whether it's perfect forensic audit or not. The important thing is that there's a forensic audit. We need that forensic audit. We need to know what went wrong. Most of the people you see coming on TV and newspapers to make noise are people being sponsored by the same people who have kept Niger Delta hostage. But nobody's listening. We have been talking. Instead of people to even try to listen to us, they want to malign us and castigate us. Some politicize it. Oh, you're working for this man. You're working for that enemy. You're working. Bullshit. I don't care. I don't really care about what anybody says. If I have a stake in the Niger Delta, in Nigerian project, I should be able to stand for the truth, irrespective of whose ox is God. We are going to meet with the president any moment from now, while their forensic is ongoing. We are going to make our own presentations. Where's the copy of that this thing? I will show you the copy of our proposal to the president. I will flash it. Let them bring it. We are making a presentation to the president. Our own independent findings. Nobody pays me. Nobody can pay me to silence me. You can't pay me to silence me, except if it is information I don't have. I'm aware of some politicians who have paid some people to malign us, to write nonsense, to discredit us. But it won't stop anything. As long as I have breath in me, this information must go to the president. And a lot of people will be shocked at the revelations that will come out. Wait, let them finish the forensic audit. You'll be shocked at the level of involvement of some of the people from the region.
But there have been different comments on the forensic audit, if it is going on, if it is real, if it is not happening. From your investigation, is it really happening?
Forensic audit, let me tell you, is already 60% done. The lead consultants have done 60% of the job, because the 60% of the information is at the headquarters of the commission. The remaining 40% will come from the state offices. And that is where they will now go to the project sites. The other 16, initially there were 8 added to the lead consultant, that's 9. Now, another 8 has been inaugurated, making it 16, so that they'll be able to move to the different LGAs, the location of sites. We as a group have moved into the project in about 5 out of 9 states. It's a sorry sight. I am telling you, it's a sorry sight. For Bonny, we even had to confront the contractor, Jafak Motors, who had a contract in Bonny for the ring road, the Bonny ring road. I'm sure you know about it. It's abandoned.
Yes.
And we went to his office in Abuja, and we talked and we confronted him with the issues. He tried to explain himself. But I have also sent message to him. No matter the explanations you give, the forensic is coming. If you know that you were paid money because of insecurity or whatever you allege, and you couldn't do it, return their money. That is the most
So
important
the
thing. That's what
entire ring road in Bonny was under this Jafak Motors.
Yes, that's one contractor had it. But he also explained to us the challenges he's faced. Okay, let us agree that he had those challenges. But the question is, did you collect money, and the work you did, is it commensurate with the money you've collected? If it's not, return the remaining one. There are so many of them. The fight you are seeing at the National Assembly is because a lot of people were involved, either directly or indirectly. Either they were representing certain interests. I know some contractors who were sponsoring those articles against the IMC and the Minister for Niger Delta. But
Contractors.
unfortunately, none has been able. Yes, contractors, big time contractors, paying heavy money, heavily, giving the youth groups they are using. Some of them, they bought a 2020 range, what's that, Land Cruiser for them. Yeah. Just to make sure that help to model things up. Unfortunately for them, the president has said the forensic must go on. So that's where the problem is now. Let us see how they will scuttle it. They don't have information about the forensic auditors. They don't have information about their whereabouts, where they're operating from. That's why it's difficult for them to also compromise. So they come out with a propaganda that the forensic is not ongoing. You talked about the MD strengthening. I don't need to talk about that. It's somebody I wasn't very close to him, but shortly before that incident, we had met at somewhere just 2 times. I was privileged to also see him take what they call black seed oil. Go and Google it. Black seed. One of the side effects is that it induces seizure. So when the man fainted, it wasn't even fainting. He had seizure. 1, there was poor ventilation. 2, they were already worn out. The stress these people gave them was something else. And so when the man had that seizure, it was then I reflected and remembered the day he brought the black seed to give to somebody, and we decided to Google it and found out that it induces seizure. By then he had left. He said, no, nobody's taking this. Only I had to find a way to send a message to his colleague, the EDP, to say, please, can you tell that the MD to stop taking that black seed? That is responsible. And because I heard he had that seizure in Kenya in December when they went for Christmas this thing. I told him, I said, they tell him, you Google it, black seed, Google it. And he was taking 2 in the morning, 2 in the. Yeah, so that's by the way. People are, unfortunately, it happened at a time that everybody was glued to their TV set. People no longer have that humane this thing. What was important to them is the money. If he lies, let him die, but let him bring the money. That's nonsense. The people that ate the money, nobody is calling them to return the money. They want us to call names. The MDs who have come and gone, we have reports, we have lists of what happened in some years. We have the report, the Auditor General's report from 2008 to 2012. So many of them were indicted. Some are serving governors as I speak to you now. They have abandoned projects. They were all part of the fight. They were all part of those instigating and inciting the National Assembly against the IMC. In fact, against the president, because it wasn't, IMC is not the one that brought the issue of forensic. It's the president. So they were inciting, and some of them belong to, some of them belong to the same political parties with Mr. President. And instead of helping him actualize his dream, his goal, they were going behind the scene to scuttle it, malign, play politics. Oh, this one wants to contest election in 2023. Akpabio wants to be president. That's why he's doing what he's doing. Doesn't he have the right to contest? Even though the man has said he's not running. I don't know. I'm not a prophet, but that's what he said. He's not running. And in any case, even if he's running, doesn't he have the right? You will do. Don't you have the right? Me, don't I have the right to buy form? But does that mean that I shouldn't do my job for now? So these were the issues. It's a strong cabal. No matter, even if you bring, let me give you an example. Chibike Rotimi Amechi now, as Minister for Niger Delta Affairs, this same cabal will not let him function to make sure that forensic audit is out. They will rear their ugly head. There's nobody you will bring, they will not fight. What they wanted was allow it to be business as usual, where a situation where people get paid for training programs and those training programs are not executed. A situation where somebody is giving 1,000 slots of what do you call it? The silting of the water hyacinths and the drains. Maybe the 1,000 slots is meant to be for a particular state, and the person hijacks it to himself, makes money, multiply it by 2.3 million, 1,000 times 2.3 million, because each one is about 2.3 million. And he makes money, running into billions, and he now runs back, bigs out of it, and gives to social media people. 40 years youth, 50 years youth. And they begin to defend him, and begin to praise him, and begin to sing for him. Meanwhile, they don't know that the man has eaten up their destinies.
Okay, I want to ask now, from the findings you and your team you have made so far,
Yes.
and yes, from all of your findings and everything, what are some of the recommendations you plan to give to Mr. President on how to resolve this issue? Because I can see it.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I can see it. So, what are some of the recommendations, even if not all, give us a few on how we can resolve the crisis and the sad happenings in the NDDC, so that every region in the Niger Delta can begin to benefit from this commission?
The truth of the matter is that, well, I think you may also need to see this. We have about 20 points agenda, what we think can be done for the region to witness massive development. Okay, I wouldn't want to belong to part of the group that says scrap NDDC. Those who are saying that for selfish reasons, because they don't want us to find out who did what after the forensic. If we are going to scrap NDDC, they will wait. After the forensic, we can begin to do all that. But the truth of the matter is that the president must be seen to be passionate about the region. This region has contributed 70 or 80% of the economic mainstay of our nation for 60 years.
Correct.
Or
That's
more.
correct. That's
So
correct.
do we deserve what we are getting? If Nigeria for 60 years has made thousands of trillions, and like you said, 5 trillion only came to Niger Delta, is it fair? And then in any case, how do you keep pumping money into a place and you are not seeing results, and you keep pumping money? You are encouraging corruption. So we have presentation to make. If the NDDC or the Niger Delta, let me not limit it to the NDDC, because we also have a Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, irrespective of who is there. Anybody can be the minister tomorrow. When we started, it wasn't Akpabio we met, it was somebody else as minister. And I'm sure after Akpabio, we'll still continue our advocacy. So, but it could be anybody. So what we are doing is to lay a standard in case any other person comes. What we are looking at, for me and for my group, we are thinking that the Niger Delta Development Commission should be seriously merged under the Ministry of Niger Delta with certain powers and provisions and then mandates. For instance, we have proposed that there should be a commercialized Niger Delta Development Bank called NDDB, with headquarters either in Port Harcourt or Uyo, and branches in all the Niger Delta states. All businesses with the NDDC or contractors emanating from the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs must be done using the NDDB platform for all financial transactions.
What would that do?
One of the major challenges, what it will do is that it will guarantee money, one, transparency, accountability. Two, it will also guarantee that adequate funding for projects that are mapped out. Part of the challenge we have is that we don't even have enough money. Look at the East-West Road. I tell you, if not for what the minister just mentioned to me the other day, how they have planned it to be able to complete that road, what they needed as of 2018, when Amechi and Fashola were in charge of the presidential committee, their recommendation to the president was that it should be moved to the sovereign wealth fund because lack of funding had hampered the execution and completion of that road over the years. When Jonathan was there, he used funds from the Shopee. That was why he was able to achieve that milestone. So, but when Buhari came in 2015 and Usani became the minister, there was no Shopee anymore. There was no special intervention funds anymore. So Amechi and Fashola with the team recommended that it should be moved to the Sovereign Wealth Fund, where you have 4 other critical projects, making it 5, so that the funding for this will not be difficult. The Sovereign Wealth Fund, the PIDF presently, means that any money sold, a certain percentage of the gas will be set aside for the development of some of these projects. It's not only the Niger Delta, there are some, the Abuja Kanu, Lagos Ibadan, Mambila Power section, the second Niger Bridge, and the East-West Road. Now, it was a good recommendation by Amechi and Co. But what happened? The president said, okay, since you people have said what we need to complete this road from section A to section 1 to 4 is 100 billion, I will release 20 billion first. This 20 billion, let us use it and pay the contractors being owed so that they can go back to site. For 3 good years, the PIDF refused to release that money. 3 years. Usani couldn't do much. And they sat on the money until we began to put pressure using the citizens' quest. We put pressure on the PIDF. We struggled before we were able to even have a meeting with Akpabio. And by the time we met with him and we recommended that that project should be brought back to the ministry, he is a development expert. Let him come and replicate what he did in Akwa Ibom, if truly he did something. And he said it's not possible. I said it's possible. And I told him it's possible, it can be done. He said, no, the PIDF is powerful. I said, no. You are even more powerful. You convinced the president that that is what the people want. We went to the newspapers, we put out articles. We tried to meet with the PIDF, they were not forthcoming. But we wrote them 2 times, they didn't respond. We continued until we hit them with an article in the newspaper that there was a deliberate plot to make sure that the people of Niger Delta keep suffering, that East-West Road and our people are dying on that road. It was then that the minister was emboldened to write to the president and then requesting that the road be brought back. That's how that road was brought back, 20 billion after 3 years, even though they have not given us the interest yet. They paid that one back. So the contractors, RUCC and Cetraco, have been paid. And they have moved back to site. And don't forget, when that project was awarded in 2014, the section from Eleme Johnson to Akwa Ibom, between the time we were waiting for money and all that, some buildings had already gone up. Filling stations had been erected. So for them to increase the dualized road to 3 lanes, that's 336, they need to pull down some of those structures. It means you have to pay compensation. So they calculated the compensation. That's another additional 4.9 billion to be paid to these people before, otherwise the road will remain at 2 lanes. And of course, with the movement of Ministry of Transport, Maritime, moving the from Apapa Wharf to One Wharf, how do you think that road with 2 lanes, of course, in the next few years, it will be like Apapa again. So yes, the minister has agreed. They have paid the compensation. I think they are paying the compensation. They are going to put additional design for a bridge around the Abajo sector so that to be able to attend to the traffic. Don't forget that is where you have NNPC. That's where you have the Eleme Petrochemical. That's where you have all the other this thing, you know. And then, of course, it takes you outside River State to Akwa Ibom and Cross River. So it's not a road that with the One port becoming busy now, that you can begin to manage 2 lanes. So these are the issues. But let me tell you something. Very many people are not informed. Very many people are not well informed. They don't want to read what you're saying. They are not interested in what you're talking. Why? Because they have made up your mind that anything coming from her, we are not interested. They have made up their mind that as long as it's not in our party, what they are talking is nonsense and all manner of things. But I don't really care. I don't really care. The important thing to me is we want to be part of the success story. And I believe that the president giving a timeline of December 2021 for the completion of that road, and with what Akpabio has said, whether he remains the minister or not, he has laid a foundation that in the 2021 budget, they have dropped 300 projects meant for the Ministry of Niger Delta, so that the funds for those projects will be allocated to the East-West Road. That is the only way that road can be completed with the president's timeline.
Wow, Ma, you have said a whole lot. This is quite interesting. What is happening in the Niger Delta, and I really must thank you and your team for the so much work you have put into some of these findings and this very very superb recommendation. And I hope and pray that the president will give you an audience soon for you to bring this forward to him, so that we can see how the region can actually grow in due time. You mentioned something on 13% derivation fund. How is that coming along? You want to talk about that in 1 minute, so that I ask you one more question and we can end the session.
The 30% derivation is only when we see these things translated into improved infrastructure and standard of living. That's the only time we will know that we are actually I think that basically nobody is being checked and nobody is being punished for mismanaging these things. And like I said, the judiciary has been heavily compromised. So it may be even be difficult. Exactly. When a governor has 13% of the money, you know how much we are talking about, and he takes out just 1% to buy the judiciary and buy the people. He buys his freedom. So it's business as usual, except passionate leaders are allowed.
All right, ma. So one very important question, and this will be my last question before I let you go. You talked about it earlier when we started the session. I just wanted you to expatiate on it, is because I'm also very interested in it. We don't see more women taking up political position. I used to serve on the Wimbies Women in Politics Wimbies committee while I was at Wimbies, and the issue of lack of female representation in our politics was a very big one for us. But I want to ask you, you are a politician and a grassroots person, so you will know more. What is the issue and why we are not having more women in our politics? We have currently only five deputy governors in Nigeria. We have only 7 senators. I can't remember the amount of women in the House of Reps. About out of 360, we have about 20, is it 20 or 10? We don't have any female governor. Um, um, we don't have. We have never had a female president or a deputy. Let's take it down to the lower level. Aside River State, we have 22 vice chairwomen or chairmen and 72 councillors. I can't give account of other states if they have women in their politics, even at the local government level at all. So my question is, what do you think is the main reason why there is lack of female or women participation in politics, and what is hindering them from going in?
Well, well, it's a whole lot. First of all, let me tell you that our culture is the major issue. You know, we are still, even though we have left Egypt, we are still stuck to the lifestyle of Egypt. You know, the kind of food we ate and the kind of gods we served and all that. We are talking about 21st century Nigeria. We're talking about women participation and giving women a chance. But I tell you that very many women are still not bold enough, you know, to be part of it, especially when the issue of um, the issue of sexual abuse is still very prevalent, a situation where even if you're doing well, and you don't compromise your morality, you may never be supported, you know. And then,
mm,
of course, like I said, our culture, where men feel that any woman who is bold enough to come is a challenge to them, and they want to prove that they are men. I'm a strong man. Some will say, I'm an equated man. How can a
mm,
woman that the woman that squats to we rule over me or be appointed over me? We've heard stuff like that. You know, when somebody was going to be appointed chief judge in the state and the brother said no, imagine, how can she be the head of the family? If she's appointed chief judge, automatically she becomes the head of the family. A woman
mm,
who squats to, you know, and that's coming from a highly educated and exposed man, you know. So you can
mm,
imagine what other women who don't even have such capacities also have to go through. You know, it's very challenging for women. I tell you, I give kudos. I fall in love with women who are bold, who are making their mark in politics and governance, because
mm,
it's like treading where even the demons and the angels there. You know, so it's the major challenge we have. There's no
mm,
encouragement, and the moment you even manage to rear your head, the men begin to see you as trying to challenge them and letting you know that a woman is supposed to be under a man. And sometimes you just get discouraged and you walk away. And then, like I said, it's an African thing. The men will always see that brotherhood, you know, amongst them and support one of their own against. And of course, these things have to do with the numbers. So if the woman doesn't
mm,
get the desired numbers, how does she win, no matter how much you have? So these are the issues until we have more men saying, look, I've seen this thing in this person, this woman. I believe that in this particular area she can do well. Let's give her a chance. And then they
mm,
package you and put you. But on your own to get it, it's not even Alakija, the African richest woman, can even use her money to buy herself a space. They won't let it
mm,
be. Some will just take the money and say, look at this one, you want to come and prove yourself, you know, and all that. So it's an African thing, it's a culture thing, you know. And like I said, so many women don't want to be called names. In this business, just get ready to be abused, get ready to be insulted, get ready to be
mm,
maligned, get ready to be called all manner of names. Even people who are not deserving of you even want to seek to take you to bed just because they feel that you are desperate. You know, so
mm,
how many women want to tolerate that? How many women? Nobody is perfect, I know, but not
mm,
everybody will want their dirty linens to be washed in public. Not every
mm,
person is built strong to endure some of this harassment and all that. For those who have not been very lucky in marriage, you don't have your husband in politics, you know, to support you and encourage you. So you are almost practically all by yourself. And it's worse when they know that you're not married. Everybody thinks that you are an all-comer affair, and all they do is try to approach you and then also go away and feel good that they have conquered a territory. You know, and so many
mm,
women that they shy away, you know. But if you're a woman and you happen to have these experiences, it gets to a point where you now have crossed over, you know, and you won't even care anymore about what anybody says. You won't even care
mm,
anymore about trying to pull you down. Your eyes are on the ball, you remain focused, you know. So that's it. And then, like I said, in some parts of our country, the men are not yet that um, free enough to say, look, we
mm,
need to help this woman to become. I was giving somebody an example. Abike Dabiri was just a
mm,
newscaster. She wasn't even the flamboyant type. She was just doing her
mm,
normal newscasting. And maybe probably as a result of her job, she had a relationship, that is a friendship with one of the big families in Lagos. You know, when probably
mm,
when they throw their parties, she helps them to publicize and all that. Before you know it, they decided to sponsor her and say, look, you've done well in this sector. Let's take you into
mm,
politics. And the young woman, and we began to see another Abike Dabiri, the firebrand Abike. who made impact in the National Assembly and is still making impact. The things that were suppressed in her began to manifest. The real gifts she had began to show because somebody dared to invest in her. Unfortunately, in some parts of the country, the men will never give you such an opportunity, even when they know. Somebody said to me, we are seeing you these days on TV, blah, blah, blah. And I laughed. And I told the person, I'm not TV shy. I'm not stage fright. I don't have stage fright. Do you know why? Because I started from childhood to be on TV, where we, Enugu Broadcasting Television, we used to appear on the program they called Tortoise Club, where we recite poems and so they call you, come and recite your song of poems. TV, and it's going far. Then we moved to Junior Opinion, we moved to Do It Yourself, the school debating society and all that. So it's nothing new to me. I'm not doing anything else that is new. This is part of me that has been there. In fact, it's an old part of me. I should even have moved to something bigger if the opportunity, or if someone has said, I see the potentials in this person, let me give this person the chance to and encourage this person. And then, of course, I'm not saying you can be totally perfect in all sectors, but there are definitely areas where you do well beyond what you are known for. Some people in Bonny probably didn't know you could do this. They never imagined that you could be a broadcaster. But because look at what you have done with more than 35 programs on Instagram. You know, maybe they were seeing you as one of the youths who will just be there for peanuts, go for campaign, come back, they give you 1,000 naira and all that. They never imagined this was the reason behind my setting up Citizens Quest. I saw the potentials in some of the youths. Some of them, very many of them were never close to me before now. But I was watching them from a distance. So when they write, the young man who is my national publicity secretary, the one that is my national secretary, even my vice president, they are the ones that I watch. When they write, I say to myself, who be this person when they write this? I don't know, Amo. I go inbox. You have the potentials of becoming great. And I brought them close, brought the platform, and gave them the exposure. I allow them do things. I allow them, sometimes they call me to come and speak on channels. I send them. I'm not looking for to be seen. I'm looking for to be seen on CNN and Al Jazeera, on BBC, not these ones. With all due respect to our national television. So what I'm saying is that until people begin to eschew unnecessary bitterness and rivalry and say, look, we can get this thing in this person. Let's see whether we can help the person, mold the person, send the person for more training, expose the person the more, give the person what they need to set up that's this broadcasting outfit or something, you know, and then the person we can reap from the benefits. Unfortunately, it's not like that. So a lot of women are discouraged.
Yes, and so many of these discouraged women might be listening to you now. Somebody,
Yeah,
from what you were saying, somebody said it is worse for women, especially when they know you are vulnerable. I mean, from all the things
that's what.
you were saying, yeah. So, but
Yeah,
some of these discouraged women or young girls or ladies will be listening to you now, but they are interested in politics,
yeah,
and they would like to make their mark.
yeah,
I want to ask because
yeah.
from my time working with a lot of women in politics and everything, from my time at Wimbies, it's a question we always want. I always want to know if such discouraged young girls or women are listening to you now. How can they start? What kind of encouragement, or where do you think they should start from if they really want to make a mark and be the next Abike Dabiri and the rest of them that have made a mark for themselves in Nigeria? I'm asking this because you are someone who is in the grassroots in our politics, and you have this information firsthand. So, how will you? What's your word to these discouraged women, and how can you boost their morale on where to start?
But let me tell you first and foremost, everybody should have what they call a mentor. It could be a mentor that has not really mentored you, but somebody you're looking up to. I don't want to use the word idol because I'm a
Okay.
Christian. a
Okay.
mentor, somebody you're looking up to. I want to be like you. I've had so many girls, young girls, tell me, I want to be like you. Some inbox me, I want to meet you. I never knew them from
Mm,
Adam. And today they are just like my daughters. They are best of friends, because
mm,
they are encouraged. Now, because some of them have been discouraged, they don't know where to start. What you do is to begin to look out for those mentors, that person you want to be like. See
mm,
how you follow the person. The social media has made it possible for us to all interconnect. Follow the person gradually. Try as much as possible to reach the person. Have a one-on-one conversation, and the person can put you
mm.
through. Are you getting me? The person can put you through.
I'm getting
Now,
you.
for those who may not have, I don't know anybody who is not also in the social media. I don't know anybody. But let me tell you, you have to first of all purge yourself of bitterness, purge yourself of
Mm,
rivalry, of healthy competition. How can I go to this person, this woman? Must she be the one? No, it doesn't matter. She's only called for to that place for such a time as this. Tomorrow it could be you.
mm. True.
Use her at that time. Yeah, use her at that time to get the learning, the knowledge you need, and the contacts you need to push. So the challenge we have is that majority of them have been so poisoned, their minds have been so poisoned against those who ordinarily would have helped them.
Help them.
They
Mm,
just tell you, yeah, they just tell you, you see that man, he likes women. I've had, I've worked with two men, Nigerians, that they say light women. Then I was even very shapely, black, and now fine, Ogon. And they said to me, that man, you're going to work for him. That man likes women. But do you know that throughout I work for this man, for one day, he never even asked me, how are you? His business with me is, what are we going to do to get results for the company? And anything you need, I'll provide for you. Even when his
mm,
friends come around and I'm serving them, he said, hey, don't touch this one, is no go, it's born again. Till today, as I speak to you, why am I saying it? People have been fed with a lot of bitter stories, lies, just because they know that if you get close to William Jumbo, he's
wisdom.
going to
Mm,
help you to become. Oh, wisdom, sorry. Like now, somebody, if I tell somebody, Wisdom wants to put me on his program, don't mind that bunny boy. He's this, he's that. And then he keeps wisdom calls me, I won't pick his calls. Wisdom calls me and he gets tired of calling me, and that's the end of it. Why? Because somebody said, why don't you go close? The Bible told us that when Jesus was making waves, Zacchaeus went close and even had the cost to climb a sycamore tree to see if he
mm,
could have just a glimpse. He wasn't hoping that Jesus would see him and come to his hand, just a glimpse of who he was. The
mm,
woman with the issue of blood said, if only I can touch the hem of his garment, I'll be made whole. Why don't
mm,
you strive to even get close to the person to see if what they have told you about the person is true? So a lot of women get discouraged at that level. And that's because the other ones who are privileged don't want them to climb up. It's
mm,
unhealthy rivalry, because as far as I'm concerned, what is left meant for me is for me and not for you. If it goes to you, it means that's what God originally purposed it for. And then he won't also deny me my own. So I don't have any
mm,
reason to deny you that help for you to climb. So I think that's the thing. But I would just want to end with the last word. If you're a
mm.
woman and you're watching me and you have politics at heart, just be prepared. People say, "Ke akwa nume," tie your wrapper for your waist. Tie it
Mm.
very well. Like as if you know when Yoruba women are going to fight. Oh, they carry
Yes,
their
no.
scarf. Wow. Even if they are not strong. So
Mm,
tie it in your heart that no matter what I see, I'm not looking back. Don't be
mm,
like Lot's wife. Don't look, no matter the challenge, no matter the names they call you, no matter the discouragement, keep pushing. One day, somebody
mm,
will spot you out and help lift you up. Yeah.
mm. Thank you very much, Ma. This has been more than interesting as I expected. And I really must thank you so much for your thoughts, your views, your opinion. In fact, I'm overwhelmed. Thank you so much. For viewers,
Thank you.
Linda Long
Thank you
John,
so.
Kele Kabaka, Momo, and everybody that has been commenting, you guys, thank you so much for your comments and your views and for staying with us for this long time. This is such an important discussion. We are streaming live on my Facebook and on my YouTube channel. So we are streaming everywhere, and it is because of the importance of conversations like this. And the videos will be available immediately after the program. I really must thank you. And for people that don't know, I've never met Chief before. This video is my first time to meet her. We have never
At
met in
all.
person. You see, it's the power of social media and how social media can work. And I really, really appreciate the opportunity to have this kind of conversation with you. I look forward to meeting you in person. And but before before I let
Oh,
you go, I want to ask: in 2023, will you be throwing your hats in the ring for any political office?
I'm, today is Independence, and I'm wearing my tradition. I'm a Nigerian. I can wear anyone. My traditional green Yoruba cap that shows people, depicts people in the National Assembly, and you know what green stands for. So let's go
Yeah,
to the National Assembly, House of Reps. I sure will if Jesus tarries.
power.
Thank you.
Power, power, power. Okay, I look forward to that. Maybe my next interview will be discussing about your bills and the motions you'll be moving in the house. And I mean, I know for sure you will make a tremendous contributions to the work in the National Assembly. Thank you so much, ma.
Yes, sir.
Again, I can't appreciate you enough. I will send the videos to you and to be available everywhere on
Please
my
do.
page and on YouTube for a replay. Thank you so much,
Wow.
and have a lovely
Thank
evening, ma.
you. And you too. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate. Thank you.
All right, ma. Ah, wow, wow, wow. That was super explosive. From talking about our independence to the issues around NDDC, other national issues and leadership, to women in politics. Amazing. We have had a roller coaster ride. For all of you that hanged on with me, thank you so much. Kings Obi Ayanwu, I thank you so much. Belema Fayema, thank you so much. Linda Long John, thank you so much. Um, um, Kele Kabaka, thank you so much. Everybody that has been commenting, Baningo Bethel, thank you so much. I see all your comments and contributions. Honorable George Ajay Baningo, Philip, everybody that have been watching us for the last 40 to 60 minutes. Thank you so much. We'll be back again this weekend with another show. I promise you it's going to be explosive. I promise you we'll be back again to give you more views. Before you go, at the bottom of the screen, you can share this video still and still follow my page and click the notification button to be the first to know whenever we go live. The Hangout series is your weekend show that brings the conversation close to you and brings the solutions close to you, educate you, educate you, give you the opportunity to learn, and all those issues that will be hiding in the corners will be bringing it out for you. We can only grow when you support us, and support us by liking and following my page. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening and happy independence to all Nigerians. Thank you so much.